Celebrities are usually a lot different in real life than they portray on screen, and sometimes they're a lot meaner than fans might think. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into the top 10 actors who are mean in real life part 3, but first make sure to subscribe if you're new here. In at number 10, Kiefer Sutherland. I best know Kiefer Sutherland from his role on 24, where he was a total badass who did what he needed to do to save the country, much to the dismay of his colleagues. But apparently that aspect of the role is also true in real life, and his colleagues have shared their disdain for the star on occasion. According to an interview with Freddie Prinze Jr., he claimed that Sutherland was very unprofessional and that he hated working with him on 24. Prinze Jr. said, quote, "I did 24 and it was terrible. I hated every moment of it." Adding, quote, "Kiefer was the most unprofessional dude in the world. That's not me talking trash. I'd say that to his face." I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. And that's actually true. Another co-star spoke about her disdain for Sutherland, saying, quote, "I'm afraid that working with him proved to be hard. That young man was pretty angry. It wasn't just me. He was angry with others too. At the end of the day, I thought he must be angry with himself, and that's how he projects it." So clearly, he's the last person that you want to be working on a set with. In at number 9, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is one of the more mysterious actors in the business, specifically his affiliation with the Church of Scientology. There are also a lot of rumors that he was very possessive with Katie Holmes during their relationship, and even put strict guidelines on what she could and could not do. Then after the divorce, things didn't get much better. She wasn't allowed to see other men right away, and apparently she couldn't reveal her relationship with Jamie Foxx at the time, until Tom Cruise said she was allowed to. She also apparently was not allowed to travel with their daughter. She wasn't even allowed to talk to Nicole Kidman, Cruise's other ex. And of course, he can also be incredibly mean to crew members on the sets of his movie. Like very recently when it was exposed that he had screamed at the top of his lungs to some crew members that were not social distancing on one of his sets. And regardless if they were breaking the rules, it's never okay to scream at people like that. In at number 8, Mel Gibson. Even though many people love seeing Mel Gibson on screen, he has a dark and controversial past. Mel Gibson was temporarily blacklisted from Hollywood after it was exposed that he was a mean person who said racially insensitive things in the past. In 2006, he was arrested for a DUI. During the arrest, he went on an anti-Semitic rant. Then later in 2010, Gibson screamed racist remarks, including using the N-word at the mother of one of his 9 children. And even before all that, he had been accused of using homophobic language. On one occasion, Colbert reported that Gibson was, quote, strikingly lacking in apologies. These are just a few of many examples of Mel Gibson treating people terribly. And at number 7, Jason Segel. Jason Segel probably seemed like the most lovable person in all of Hollywood. Like, how is it possible that Marshall from How I Met Your Mother could be a mean person? But apparently, he's really rude to fans. In one instance, he reportedly slammed a car door in a fan's face after that fan asked to take a photo with him. Then according to Radar Online, Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel were incredibly rude at the premiere for one of their movies. Some insiders actually revealed that the actors' attitudes were disgusting at the event and they were incredibly rude to fans. And at number 6, Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is a well-respected actor. However, some other comedians don't think so highly of him. Comedian Tommy Davidson shared a few questionable stories about Jamie Foxx in his memoir. The two first met on the set of the sketch comedy show In Living Color, but Foxx apparently took things way too far multiple times to get a laugh. Apparently one time for a sketch, Foxx actually ripped off Davidson's underwear during filming without telling him beforehand, leaving Davidson completely naked on set, saying his humor is mercilessly mean. As a result of that, the two had a tense relationship on the set. That tension even spilled over to a movie that they worked on in 1997 called Booty Call. Halfway number 5, Toby Maguire. If you guys watched the movie Molly's Game, then you already know that Toby Maguire is a really bad guy. Maguire was portrayed in the movie as Player X, the best and worst poker player at the game. Molly Bloom spoke more openly about him in her book. In her book, she said Maguire is the, quote, worst tipper, the best player, and the absolute worst loser. Maguire also reportedly tried to humiliate her and asked her to bark for $1,000. If the movie is true to what actually happened in real life, the entire reason that Molly's poker game collapsed was because Toby Maguire took the game from her. This apparently happened because Molly did not flirt with him, even though it seemed that he was interested in her. And at number 4, Patrick Dempsey. McDreamy was the lovable and kind hero in the hit show Grey's Anatomy, but his behavior when the cameras were not rolling was completely different. And apparently he was such a diva that he ended up being fired from the show. Shonda Rhimes, the show's creator, head writer, executive producer, and showrunner, announced that she had adopted a no a-holes policy, apparently after working with Dempsey. Allegedly, a big part of the reason that he was fired is that he was disrespectful to the crew of the show. When he was killed off on the 15th season of the show, fans were shocked. But those close to the show knew it was a long time coming. A source close to this situation told Radar Online that Rhimes had no choice but to fire Dempsey, saying, quote, he had been showing up late and was holding up production because he couldn't remember his lines. In at number 3, Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones' personality in real life might not actually be very different than what he portrays in some of his movies. And he's actually a pretty rude person in real life. Throughout his entire career, he's rarely been seen taking pictures with beloved fans or signing autographs. Journalists have also said that he's known to be very grumpy while doing interviews with them, and a lot of journalists actually refuse to do interviews with him because he's known for cutting them off and even walking out on some occasions. Once during an interview for GQ magazine, he actually made a reporter cry while he was cracking walnuts with his bare hands. Very odd. But the time he actually got the most hate from fans was when he said about Jim Carrey, quote, I hate you. I really don't like you. I cannot sanction your buffoonery. And like, seriously, how can you hate on Jim Carrey? From what I know, he's a very nice guy. I don't think we've ever had him on one of these lists. In at number 2, Spike Lee. Even though Spike Lee is well respected in the industry, that doesn't mean he is well liked. Apparently, he's very rude to all the people around him, including fellow celebrities and fans. One time he was giving a public lecture at a university, and he ended up running through the speech and finished an hour earlier than planned. And even though he had all that free time, he refused to answer any audience questions, even though there was supposed to be a Q&A segment. According to stories and various sources, this kind of behavior isn't rare. During the 2019 Academy Awards, he stormed out because his film BlacKkKlansman didn't take home the Best Picture award, even though he was given the Best Director award for the same movie. And finally, at number 1, William Shatner. William Shatner is a well-respected actor who gained notoriety for his role of Captain James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise in the Star Trek franchise. But we all got to see just how much he is actually hated in Hollywood during his 2006 Comedy Central roast. Apparently, the other stars were very excited about the roast because it gave them a great opportunity to share how they really felt about him with no repercussions. Apparently, the cast of Star Trek also hated him, and during filming he was nicknamed Captain Jerk, especially after he missed Leonard Nimoy's funeral. So that's all for the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. Before I go, I'm going to shout out some comments from my video on celebrities that should be in jail part 2. Lunkus said, quote, all of them should be held accountable, thanks Mackenzie. Yeah, definitely agree with the accountability thing. Then Sang Lian said, Mackenzie, you're so gorgeous and you're my favorite host. Thank you so much, it's so nice to read. Then Casper said, I think it's easy enough to criminal celebs who make a part 3, maybe 4, maybe 5. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of material here. Definitely we could make multiple parts of this. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thank you so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and want to see some more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith. Make sure to check us out on social media, and I'll catch you all in the next one.